Hey everybody, it's tafony here once again, and today I am rambling about the Qubit Electronics Surface. It is a 10 HP physical modeling synthesizer voice. It can do up to 8 voices of polyphony. We'll get into the semantics of that in the video, but first, some quick housekeeping. I'm not affiliated with Qubit. I bought this Surface locally here in Vancouver used with my own money, so the video is not sponsored or it's not journalism. I'm not here to present it to you or assess it for you. Instead, I'm here to just share my experience with it, give you a sound demonstration. It's just a video blog of sorts. I want to share my journey, my thoughts with hardware synthesizers, and give you my first-hand experiences. But more importantly than all of that, it sounds like this. Okay, so with returning to Eurorack modules today, Qubit Surface, let's go through the panel. Now, I am going to keep the manual handy for this one, so hopefully it can be a little more informative than usual, but let's go panel, top to bottom. So there is 2 frequency knobs. There's like the macro and the fine-tuning knob. I'll definitely do some noodling with those, but we don't need to demonstrate it right off the rip. I would say you are definitely familiar with the fine-tuning. There is a trig button here, which manually trigs. Maybe we'll just do a little bit of that. And we'll get into what the different modes are, because right now we're in a stringed mode for sure. Let me crank up our voices. So that's manual trigging. Now this decay is super long. It's kind of nice. So yeah, you know what? While we're here, this is like your coarse adjustment and then your fine adjustment. And I think my decay is actually infinite at that full decay setting. So interesting. If you wanted to use a VCA after, or you just wanted to drone, this could definitely do that. And it's interesting, changing the decay value doesn't choke it out. You have to use the choke. So if I do short trig, it'll fade out. But if I do a long trig, then a short trig, then other trigs, we'll stack them. So we're jumping a little ahead to the polyphony part of this equation, but we should go through the choke button first. So as we're triggering these all, there's patching, there's I should say that obviously there's a trig input, but there's also CV and gate. There's a modular input over the choke value. So this choke does just that. It'll end this voice. So let's hit a big drone here, and then we can choke it. And this actually becomes useful for making chords with the Surface, because if you play, like, I'm going in guitar terms here, but if you play the root, you play the third, you play the fifth. I mean, I know that's not guitar centric, but I'm just thinking of a power chord, like you play, pretend this chord isn't super dissonant, but you want to send it a choke before you switch chords, or else your chords are just going to keep stacking, unless that's what you want to do. But that's my thinking, that if you wanted to use Surface for like a polyphonic lead voice in that way, you need to send it chokes. So with that being said, the voices setting has different colors, and again, if you've watched some of my videos before, I don't know if they have said this anywhere or mean it, but I find with the Qubit modules that blue is usually the pretty normal one. So So yeah, blue being one voice, so you trigger, it'll re-trig when you hit it again. But if you switch into the other modes, there's cyan, there's 2 voices, so we hit it twice. And it can do 2 voices of polyphony. Green, as we get further and further from that default blue, you get more voices, you get 4 with the green. And then with purple, you get all 8. Now, it doesn't sound a whole lot different when you just leave it in one settings, or if you leave it on the same settings, but once we get into patching it, you'll see the power of the polyphony. Now, I'm going to choke that one, so I'll just hit that and get back to my manual. So, we went over the buttons, we went over the frequencies. Now, there is shift functions. Always the worst. You know what, before we get into any of those, let's do the modeling. So let's go through the models. First is pluck. Very stringed. Corpus strong almost. Let's pluck the pluck. And then we are entering into the bell. Sounds very toy-y. We're just, with all of our settings at noon this is, but there's lots of variation to be had within them, and we will definitely get into that. So, bell, bell. And then this is electric piano 1. Let's try a little more decay. We'll get deeper into it in a moment, but I just want to show it off the rip. Electric piano 2, that sounds a lot nicer. We got some donk. We got some donking. And if you really want donking, this kick is just crazy. So FM, so much pitch bend, so fun. And that's probably my favorite voice mode here, but then there's also a snare here. And by CV control of the model, sort of like you do on the BIA, you can make a drum kit here by, modulating, like we'll send 4 on the floor into the trigger input and then modulate back and forth from the kick to the snare. So I'll get into that in a moment, but we'll get into the prepared piano, which sounds crazy and dissonance, at least in this setting, but also sounds really nice. So yeah, so we're going to go into each mode in more depth here. So we'll hit trigger on the pluck mode, and tone is a macro knob for the brightness, the filter quality, and the cutoff all in one. So let's just mix me out a little bit. So it's a macro knob, right? It's, shows you, just to show you how choke that out. Just to show, like, in the broadest sense, it is going from, like, more bassy to more treble-y, but the nuance is in between, right? Like, yes, there is a filter sweep in there for sure, but there's levels to it. That's the tone, and then strike is in this mode the attack strength. So if you remember from the Plonk video, we're talking about a physical drum and like your mallet, your exciter, they called it there. This is just going to change the envelope in this one, but if I noodle with both of those, that's what that sounds like. And then there's no changing between models, if that makes sense. They're not constantly variable, they'll switch, which is fine. Sort of like the tone controls are by way of the strike and the tone, which is a lot of fun. So we're into the bell mode now. Let me pull up the specifics of the manual. You don't need the manual when it comes to like these tone things, right? Realistically, the workflow of it is just like hit it, noodle with it, right? So tone here controls the ratios of bar to be struck, morphs between vibraphones and tabalas. Oh, there is a very distinct switch there. So again, what I said about like doing CV sequencing of Clementine destroying my computer, get out of here. Doing CV sequencing to make a multi-voiced drum set or something, you could do that here by way of jumping from the tone and jumping around the tone. So, do you mind? Do you mind? So, we did our tabala. Okay. Oh, so they've listed these. So, first is the vibraphone. Then there's steel drum. Then there's bayan tabala. And Tahina tabala. Very cool. Let's go into the next voice mode, which is electric piano 1, which they say this is Rhodes-like. I don't know if I hear the Rhodes, but let's go. So tone blends between the two FM sources. Okay, there. I'll accept it more in this lower part. Definitely like piano-y. Decay. Yeah, but immediately gets pretty wild. And then strike. FM index control for the secondary sound source. No effect when tone is all the way down, so tone is all the way down doesn't change anything, but when you blend in the frequency modulation, this will do a little more. Hey, I mean, there's like 2 operator FM in that, right? Again, I don't know if I love how that sounds, but that's FM in my books. I have yet to wrangle it in the slightest, so be aware it is on board. So then there's E piano 2, which it says is Wurlitzer like. So if you have any Whirly fans here, this is Wurlitzer. It actually sounds really nice. The only funny thing is that like they really didn't hold back, and they sound amazing at the most simple mode, but then they get crazy like right away, which I can usually appreciate. But anyway, let's see if we can find a way to use that here. So tone is FM index control. And it gets nasty. And then strike is the attack amplitude. Yeah. Then we'll get into our kick. So this is a sine wave based kick drum with saturation. Tone is the amount of saturation. Oh, all we got. This just sounds like totally like the noise engineering stuff. The timp beside it is getting a little jealous. Alright, the strike attack time and pitch envelope. It's all the way down, so I'll let you see that. And that can really, like, wobble. I wonder if you'd add some vibrato to that and make some, like, dubstep. Yeah, I mean, that's what everyone's in your rack for, right? Yeah, we'll bring the strike back up and move into the next one. This is the snare. So, not overly exciting, but tone is the amount of noise. So, let's try and... It's like all noise. Strike is going to be pitch envelope amount. I don't hear it. Okay, you gotta keep your pitch up to do that. So if we add lots of decay, no, we add lots of strike, turn up our tone. Yeah, very cool. So that's the snare, prepared piano. So tone is detune amount, so let's just start with everything at noon. Interesting, and then we'll bring up the detune / space amount. Sounds a little lo-fi to me, which could be fun if you want some jank, or if there's a way to modulate that is fun, for sure. Let's go to the strike now. The strike is pitch envelope amount, so... just lots of FM stuff, which is cool. So yeah, we talked about the frequency knobs, the strike, the tone, how they are macros, the model, we went through all the models, and then decay, how it can be used for drones if you want it. Now, that's about the whole panel, but there's a lot to be said in terms of the actual unit itself. There's different stereo outputs as well, so you can actually do dual mono, or random voicing, or split voicing. You can do split models. Wow. There's a lot of depth here. But this is sort of the, like, if you've ever met someone who didn't like qubit stuff, I think this is sort of like the things that people have gripes with, where it's like, okay, that setting is on there, but how do I get it? Well, I need to double tap the choke? No. What does it say? Tapping the choke button while in the extra settings mode. Where's the extra settings mode? Accessing the extra settings menu is easy as holding down the voices button for longer than 1 second. Okay, let's hold down the voices button for longer than 1 second. Now we're in the extra settings mode. Now, this is all blinking. If we hit choke, it will show us the stereo output modes. We are in green, I think. Tapping the choke button while in extra settings mode will switch between output modes and display the corresponding color on the choke LED. So I do not want random. I don't know, maybe I did want green. Okay, so let's get out of here then. Oh no, gotta hold. Oh, hello. Okay, there is a dark mode. We're not going to talk about dark mode today, but just know this, if you switch this to green, it puts into dark mode, which features more extreme parameter settings for all the models. I think just for today, we can do a big overview of everything. We'll stick to the normal mode. It's not like worlds different like the micro mode is on the data bender, but it definitely will make our tweaking a lot more crazy. So with that being said, I think that's all I need the manual for just now. So we are going to do so by way of sending it a slower sequence because I want to really make this run. So go into step sequencing mode. I'll send it 4 on the floor. Now I'm hearing it in a pretty mono mode, which means either I've screwed up my output setting, very likely, or the module's a little messed up, which isn't as likely. However, it is kind of making some crickly crackling, so you hate to hear that. However, maybe we'll just take this out and we'll hold our trig down for more than 1 second, which I thought entered the other mode. No, hold voices for more than 1 second. Yeah, okay. So I want choke to be... Let's go into blue mode. We're in mono mode now. That is just fine. We'll leave our extra settings by hitting that. Okay, mono mode for now. Simplicity. I don't see myself using any of the crazy routing options, but if those sound appealing to you, definitely check them out. So now that we're in mono mode, let's send it a sequence. I don't love this model, so let's explore the other models. Now, let's go to my... Hold on. Artichoke, you bring your decay down. Let's assign a scale to this one, being minor in the key of G, because we can. Randomize this. No, sorry, I was overdriving it on the bag R, so let's clean that up a little bit. And right out the gate, that sounds very pretty. I really enjoy that. These are sort of the sounds I reach for on here. And there's no effects on board, there's no reverb or anything, but when you just like have these super long decays, it just kind of resonates in a nice way. And a lot of the discourse I saw online about this thing is like all focused on comparing it to rings, which I don't really like. There's definitely some influence there, but I just feel like it's not a resonator, it's not a thing, but it does resonate in its voices. So however, if you are a Rings into Clouds enjoyer, you will enjoy this. These sounds, I should say. Because they're pretty swell in my mind. If we switch voices modes, it's just not, you know. You know what? You put some attack on there, it's not, like, it doesn't sound bad. I just, like, it just doesn't sound anywhere near as cinematic, right? Once you get this polyphony going in a scale, it's just like, this is where it's at for me. If we crank these decays, we'll just noodle with some tone. And I don't know if I still feel this way, but I remember thinking that, here, let's put a little reverb on the output of everything here. Oh, it's going to do to my voice too. How's that for ambience? I better check that off my voice. But what I remember thinking is that one of my favorite combos was bringing the tone down. Like, if you want nice clean sounds, my thought was like keeping the tone pretty low and the strike pretty high. But if we try the opposite, just kind of has this timbre of like ringing out if it was a string, you know what I mean? Whereas this, it feels like very, you know, long attacks for like soft envelopes and then, you know, filtered sounds on the tone front. So let's change models now, because it's also going to totally depend based on the model, right? So let's start in monophonic mode. Oops. Yeah, again, kind of. I think you need the tone down on this one. Maybe strike down on this one too. Bring in some more and more polyphony. Yeah, not my favorite mode. Just Another electric piano in here. You need the polyphony, for sure, on these ones to really, you know, and you could definitely like reverb this out, but you don't have to when you just let them sing, right? All right, back to mono, let's switch voices. It's the other one. Get some polyphony going. Yeah. Now we're into that kick. And this just sounds so good. Yeah. Polyphony with this one? Ever heard a polyphonic kick? I mean, it doesn't sound like a kick, and it sounds like a awesome bassy thing. I love it. Choke it. Yeah. And that snare, polyphonic snare. Just like a wall of noise. Yeah, I mean, this sounds totally appropriate. Then we're back into that string mode. I do not enjoy how this sounds. Let's try and see if we can get to... I don't know if I can. Oh, no, there's something. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I actually love that a lot. Sorry. Yeah, I don't love that dissonance, but I do love that. Alright. It's time for LFOs. So let's send some modulation. We got on our PAMS Pro, I am going to do my beloved reset all, and we're going to send some sine waves. So what happens if we CV modulator choke? I don't love how that sounds on here. Oh, that is a gate. That will also help. Okay, we're in sine mode now. Again, I love how this mode sounds, but I don't love how the tone sounds. So let's try and CV modulate our strike amount. So we're just setting positive voltages. Gives it some movement, which is nice. And then if I send it chokes, like there's a rhythmic element to doing that too. That's a lot of fun, right? Like what if this was random? I don't know. Is this gonna be goofy? Let's find out. Random it is. Maybe too random. It's not really choking it very often. That's cool though. Let's get back into our sine wave. I like it. I like that a lot actually. Just add some fun modulation to that. Modulate the decay. Yeah. Funny, I didn't even like this model at first. But let's try and modulate our model too. So I'm in the highest one, but if we go down. So watch this LED. It's different color for every model. So you can just go crazy, cycle through them all, right? Now if we send this gates, what does it do? No, it doesn't. Yeah. So there's polyphony to be had in this way, or multi-timbrality, I should say. Like polyphony was there this whole time, but just jumping back through models, right? Now if we bring our level down, so So maybe it'll just go to the next model. This is like, I don't know, this is some of the coolest they have on board Surface, I think. So now let's keep that going because I'm having fun. Let's do some modulation of our tone now. Sounds like a multi-timbral arrangement to my ears. Now those are gates. What if we make those LFOs? What if we modulate our strike? What if we modulate everything? Well, I'm trying to. Now, different waveforms. I wish there was enough room to show you what I'm doing on the PAM's front here. But yeah, we got gates right now. Let's switch the strike waveform to sines. Let's try and do that drum kit idea I had before. Get into, I love how this kick sounds. Get out of that for a second. Let's get into fourth channel. I'm gonna change our level because it's not switching modes right now. The only thing to think about with dark mode here is that you don't get separate controls, right, over the tone and strike. So you gotta kind of strike a balance, for lack of, or not trying to make a pun, but like, if you're in dark mode, it's harder to use CV to switch between modes because the changes are crazier, right? When you're in normal mode, it makes these transitions like more palatable, right? Like I'm not jumping into some crazy snare on the other model that doesn't match my kick tone at all. So if we bring more tone into this. Yeah. Now I think we should try and see if we can make... I love the ambient sounds, I love the beautiful side of Surface, but I want to see if we can try and make it donk. So let's first bring some distortion on the master. Do a new ARP. Like perk stuff there, right? Alright, having too much fun with the Surface here. Awesome, awesome voice. Doesn't seem to get the love that I think it deserves online, so I'm just here to say that. Alright, I'm Tafony. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. I'll talk to you soon.